Hi, and welcome back to the second part of this case study. And I'll take you through what we had done very briefly. We had understood that we want to have some understanding about the survey of chocolate bars and chocolate makers and the locations from where these chocolate bars come, right? For which we had the data of the flavors of cocoa, right? You will remember that this was the blue columns are the ones that we created. We created a primary key by using concatenate, which was for the company and the specific bean origin, and which is the location of the bean. And then we had created the company location per se over here, which where we had looked at the top few locations, and for the remaining locations, because there were just hundreds of them, we had grouped them under others, right? So if we go to data and just do a filter, and then look at the location names, we will find others, and then we have the top few locations, right? So this concept is called a Pareto analysis. The Pareto principle says that 20% of the options will give you around 80% of the values, right? So here only a few um, countries are giving you 80% of the values. The others can be just clubbed into others, right? We had seen, do we need any sampling? And no, not really, because here we just want to analyze the data. It's not that we want to build some predictive model. And then we looked at having a primary key, which could be a unique distinguishing key for different types of chocolate bars. We had looked at missing values, understood that there are no missing values and outliers, and we didn't need to do any dummy variables because, again, this is a visualization project. But we had done some derived variables like the ones that we created over here for the country of the company. Now, then we had looked at some of the data, like what does the data really look like, for which we had looked at the range, central tendency, and the shape. Here, I would want you to just remember that definitely when you're looking at the data, you are looking at object-oriented programming, because what had we done? We had created the minimum, maximum, average, and the median, and we could just copy paste it into the other columns. So we just did a control C and did a control V. So your code doesn't need to be rewritten. If you just point it out to the list or place of data that you want that code to run, that code will run. I think this is an important takeaway, and I would want you to just think about it just a bit. Then we had looked at understanding. We had understood on a basic level that what is the range of values, minimum to maximum, the average values for rating, cocoa present percentage, and the review date. And we had looked at creating a visualization sheet. Now, when we looked at creating a visualization sheet, all this data that we had calculated, minimum, maximum, average, and median, for the review date, cocoa percent, and rating, we had plotted it out here. And then looked at the next step, which was creating a summary or a pivot table. So this is how the pivot table was looking. And what we had done to ensure that we get the right outcome is to do two things. We had pulled out the count of rating and the average of the rating, right? So if you remember in the values, we can just go pull out rating and then just adjust or choose what we wanted to see. So when we look at the count of rating and look at the company or maker, we find that the rating is maximum for these few chocolate bars. So from 4 to 13, this set of chocolate bars have the requisite count, or should I say the largest set of people who know them. These 10 brands have the largest set of people who know them. How do we know? Because of the count of rating. Who do the people rate by themselves? They will always rate what they know, right? You will not rate something you don't know. So here you go. What we did is we copy pasted this simply out of the pivot table, and we brought it out to the visualization sheet. Because what are we doing? We are trying to create um, a picture, right? Analysis, visualization, which from which we can have some key takeaways. So what are the two things that I did over here? One is I just put out the row label, count of rating, and the average of rating. Okay, here, yeah. Okay. There is one more thing you will notice, which is called others. So I have calculated it from the grand total and the of the row label and the count of rating, which I can show it to you from here. So just went down here. All these have got clubbed under others, right? Okay. And then I just pick this up, this last line. Okay. There is one more way to do it, and that is also a very interesting way. I can actually pick out all of these, which you can see have just one or two ratings, and just pick all of these out. Okay. And I will right click and I will just group them. Okay. So once I group them, okay, I'll show it to you again just for you to understand. You can go here, choose all of them till the end, right click and group. Okay. So it is telling you group one. This group one, instead of group one, I'll just call it others. I'll name it as others. Okay. And these are the um, no calculation. So I just go here and remove the company maker, and here you get. You have all of them over here. So again, just I'm sure you remember this. Go to data, go and sort it from largest to smallest. Others have all been clubbed together, and then you have Soma, Bonat, Fresco, and the rest. So I'll just pick it out from here itself. This blank I don't want. So okay. And this table, I will just take it out here. Okay. This you can see that I didn't do a paste special, so the whole pivot table had come. Now here I'll just do a bit of rejig. Okay, and then I'll just ensure that this numbering is right. These are the 10 chocolates which are um, the most famous. Now just a simple rejig again, as I said. Okay. So overall, the rating is 3.19. And for the others, it is 3.2. And here are the ratings for these top 10 most popular brands. Okay, because that's what the people like. Now, I want to do again one small formula which will tell me if this average rating of each of these brands is actually greater than or equal to 3.19. Either I can write 3.19 in manual, so I can write it in manual, or I can link it to that cell and then I'll just sort of pull it through. Okay. So here, there are two places where you can see a false, which I'm going to highlight. Yeah. Oh, okay. Others I'm not really considering because that's all of them, so many of them altogether. Okay. So this one, let me just gray this area out. Okay. It's for our reference. Okay. This is the 10 top most popular um, brands or um, companies that are there in the chart. Okay. We can actually go. I will rename this as pivot. So I don't have to keep finding it out. And the row label over here, company, makers if known. So actually I can just go here and pick this out and put it into the visual. Okay. Okay. So here is one chart. Now I'm going to do the same thing for this is top 10 in rating count, which means popularity, most popular companies, right? So this is the most popular company if you want to see. And now let's look at top 10 top by percentage cocoa. So again, it's simple now. I go back to the pivot. I just remove this, okay? And I want the percentage cocoa, right? So here you go, okay? Now here there are again a couple of things to be seen that there are different counts of ratings and there are different um, average values. So the count of rating tells you that what are the most popular ones that people pick up, what percentage cocoa are the most popular ones, right? If I was to look at this whole set and convert them into a percentage for easier access. So what do we find? There is 70, 75, 72. Then these are definitely the largest values, right? So, okay. These are the largest values of cocoa that are there. And then the rest of it have very less. Now, here one question comes is that should we, there are two ways to do it. One is to just do it from here, saying that 70, 75, and 72% are the largest chunks. Or the second thing, and you can see they're large by a huge amount, right? So the sum of these three is coming to 1083 out of 1800. So if we just do a very this rough calculation, you can see that about 55% of the values are actually just coming from these three percentages of cocoa. These are the most popular percentages of cocoa, right? But what logic dictates is that we should perhaps, sort it, saying for every 10% density of cocoa. So what I'm saying is there's one more thing we can do is just sort it here, right? So here you can see these, instead of count of the rating on cocoa percentage, if I do it. So here you have, this is what, group it. So this is the group one, 40 to 50%, right? To 49%. Okay. Now here I have the 50%. Now what I do is I just okay. So then I can do 50 to 50 58%. Then I can do 60 to 70%, and then I can do all the ones above 70. Okay. So the two ways to group, one is that we just did it for 40, we can do it for 50, we can do it for 60 and 70. We either do it like that, or we can go to the main data and create a column, an extra column, saying less than 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, greater than 70. So it depends just upon you where you want to put the formula. I'll put it in this and we'll see it. So here you go. Just right click and group. Okay, so this is what is done. And now we have this analysis up and running. So I just right click and say remove cocoa percent, and it all goes up like this. We have all of this here, and we can therefore take it and put it, of course, without the blank, into the visualization sheet. Right? The formatting, etc., is pretty easy now because we can just pick up things from here, okay, and put it together, right? So just pick this up, click over here, it picks up the format, and okay. So the formatting is just some small amount, okay. And then of course the formula also remains the same, okay. So here what do you find, that the ratings actually are good for the 60 to 79 segment, right? It's actually less for the very less cocoa part also, and it's actually less for the very high cocoa part also here. Okay, so the public doesn't like any of that. This is the part which is generally liked by everyone as per the survey. Now your assignment over here is to create this for two more charts that you can find off the cuff. The things which I can look at and tell you is that I would make one extra one for the company location. Okay. And so here we go, company location 2. So I would do one for company location 2, and I would do one extra one for primary key. So I would want you to do this, and then let's compare notes in the next video. With this, I'll close this video.